This changes everything for the Los Angeles Lakers as we have a surprising update surrounding Luka Doncic that has fans fired up. And not only that, we have a big trade update and free agency update surrounding the Lakers and one particular player's reports are running rampant. The NBA is getting crazier and crazier, and we have a ton to go over today, folks. Before we get into it all, if you're part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. About 90% of you who are watching aren't subscribed. You guys have been an absolute beast, so make sure to continue with that support. And thank you guys again for your continued support, folks. A lot to go over today. Some big updates that change everything for not only the Lakers next season, but also for their plans in this offseason. And there is a lot of craziness going on. Of course, Drew Holiday got traded yesterday. We've been going through, Kevin Durant, Desmond Bane, all these trades, and it's only going to get crazier and crazier with the draft tomorrow. And of course, the Lakers are seemingly going to be involved in a lot of players. We'll have another video coming out on that, shortly here as well. But things are really starting to pick up surrounding the Lakers and centers, of course, whether that be guys like Kristaps Porzingis, Nick Claxton. But I'll take a step back for a moment here. And let's touch on Luka Doncic because we had a new report that dropped just a few minutes ago here from Dan Wokey of the, I believe now The Athletic, recently hired there. Luka Doncic is committed to his conditioning. Luka Doncic has been incredibly committed to his conditioning this offseason. He's dropped significant weight and is working on a strict diet and cardio training, according to a source with knowledge of the plan. In a shift from his normal offseason, he spent a month away from on-court work to focus more on his body. So this one is it's quite the interesting report here. Now, of course, we've been covering it on the channel for a while about how it seemed like, at least from the outside looking in, that he was losing weight and that he was committed to, a weight loss journey and all these different things. And I say journey, of course, he was already in fine shape, but of course, getting in elite shape. And for the first time now, we have a report from somebody within, league circles that is the case and that he is losing significant amount of weight and that he's been trying to do so. So it's not just, placebo, and it's not just us seeing things based on lighting of different pictures of him near the beach and things like that. It is true. He's already officially dropped significant weight and is, of course, on a strict diet and doing cardio training here. And you can see this here that, you look at the picture of him. Of course, this is from a little bit ago. He already looked much thinner, but now, with the confirmation that he's lost a ton of weight, this is obviously extremely, extremely good, information, simply because we all know how good Luka Doncic can be, and he's still very young. And the fact that he is only, in his mid-20s, and the last 3 seasons, he's averaged 32 points a game, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, 1.5 steals. Like, he is elite. We saw the athleticism that he had towards the beginning of his career. And, of course, it's tailed off a little bit, but I don't think that's for the worse. Of course, he got better as a player. He's trying to find now a happy medium. And if he can come out in good shape and become even a capable defender, that will, of course, help the rest of this team tenfold. And obviously, it was a little bit of an interesting year last year. He got traded from the Mavericks' point of view because he was out of shape. They didn't think they could win a championship with him, play defense, all these different things, even though they were a year removed from taking him to the championship, or taking them rather, the Mavericks that is, to the championship. And it was an interesting situation. And clearly now he's using that as fuel to lose some weight. And of course, I'm very excited for this. You look at some of his, just pictures. Of course, the way that he's changed his approach to what seemingly is everything all around his game. This is not only a good sign because it's going to pay big dividends going forward into next season, but it's also just a good sign because the Lakers are seemingly going to extend him to, Supermax, all these different, or the max, I guess, all these different things. And because of that, he's going to be a Laker for the next, probably for the rest of his career if everything goes well, but for at least the next 5 to 10 years. And for him to already be taking cardio extremely seriously this early on in his Lakers tenure, especially given the fact that the reason he was traded away from the Mavericks is because of his conditioning, it is a great sign for things to come. And big changes are on the horizon here for this team, whether you look at it in the free agency front, even the ownership front. Dan Wokey also came out and spoke about the changes that are going to be happening. He says the changes coming for the franchise are going to be severe, but when those changes actually start is still the big question. It's reasonable to expect the franchise to operate in functionally the same manner as it has been this offseason, even as it's set for this massive infusion of cash. And of course, this is talking about Mark Walters buying the team from Jeannie Buss, and the way that, these changes are going to be very clear for this team. Like, a ton of changes are happening, even outside of specifically the free agency pool. We know they're interested in a lot of different centers. They're going to make a move for a center. Things have been picking up like crazy. But even when you take a step back and you look at some of the changes that are happening, outside of the control of the front office, guys like Luka Doncic getting in shape, getting in the best shape of his career, LeBron James rehabbing from his injury, all these different things, posting on his Instagram that he's rehabbing and looking very well. You pair that with, of course, the new ownership and how they're going to be making massive changes. And I covered it on the channel, but again, it seems very, very clear that not only are they going to be making monumental changes, and it's seemingly going to be a lot bigger of a change than we all initially thought, just because of the fact that, yes, there's a huge influx of cash, but the way that Mark Walters spends, the way that they operate a team is very different than the Buss family because it's obviously focused on more like a billionaire mindset rather than, the Jeannie Buss. Again, Jeannie Buss was a good owner. I think she did fine. But at the same time, you're in a very, very good spot now with Mark Walters and things like that. And I also think the Lakers are in a great spot with Luka Doncic because you look at the depth chart here, and yes, they have to add a center. They probably have to add a point of attack defender. Is there a world Austin Reaves gets traded? There absolutely is a world Austin Reaves gets traded. But despite all that, there's still holes in the lineup. But one of the things that you can guarantee yourself is if Luka Doncic gets in shape, the team will be better, and they will be better off for it because he becomes a capable defender. If he comes out and he's able to play 35 minutes a game, and especially towards the end of the season when you're fighting for everything, LeBron James was hurt, Luka was leaning on his calf all the time. This is very good news, and it does change everything for the Lakers. This paired with, of course, the spending of the new ownership, we're in for a very exciting next few months of Lakers rumors, and then, of course, the actual basketball there in October. But we also have a new report surrounding John Collins from Mark Stein. Now, he said that the Collins rumors were never true. Finding a frontline center remains a clear offseason priority for the Lakers, who have maintained a long-standing interest in Utah's Walker Kessler. The Jazz, though, have made Kessler unavailable for some time, which might have contributed to reports last week that suggested LA has interest in trading for Kessler's teammate John Collins. Collins had a very strong campaign, but I'm told any suggestion that the Lakers are a trade suitor for the 27-year-old is a mischaracterization. So, in a bit of a surprising turn of events here, yet Mark Stein confirms, of course, notable reporter, that the Lakers are interested in Walker Kessler, but the Jazz at this point are unavailable, at least was unavailable at the trade deadline. It's unclear at this juncture how available he is. We heard rumblings yesterday that a report came out, from a Jazz reporter that they gave up willing to give up, a couple first-round picks. And of course, if you extend, the trade to August, the Lakers can give up one more first-round pick along with all their swaps. But John Collins, who I still think made some sense for the team, especially given the fact that some rumblings about a Rui Hachimura for John Collins swap here. That trade was what he calls a mischaracterization, meaning, of course, that it doesn't seem likely that is going to happen. And it also doesn't seem likely that any of, it doesn't seem at this point that a Walker Kessler trade is super likely either. I'll have another video coming out in a few hours here on a new target that has been not only revealed, but the most likely outcome for the Lakers here. And things are kind of starting to narrow down now because as you get closer and closer to the draft, and of course, the deadline of not necessarily, Lakers don't have a hard deadline to get a center, but centers are going to start to be acquired. Every team is pursuing multiple guys. The Lakers' targets are becoming more and more clear. And that's, of course, happening right now with this. And at the same time, and in the same vein, all the other rumors that are fake and false are starting to get weeded out. And apparently the John Collins rumor was interesting because it was reported by multiple people here. It was a mischaracterization, and they're still in a Walker Kessler, but John Collins is not going to be the guy who the Lakers go for. But that'll wrap it up. Let me know down below what your thoughts are on this. Obviously, Luka in great shape. Ownership, things are changing forever for the Lakers, and they still desperately need a center. We'll keep you up to date with all the latest news surrounding that. So make sure to hit the subscribe button. See you later.